District credit approval can't be combined with other credit offers. Exclusions apply. See store for details. U.S. only.
We are back. Flint's News Talk, 1470 WFNT, and we are joined now by Senator Lana Theis. Can you hear us okay now?
I can. How are you doing today?
Doing wonderful. You're coming in loud and clear. It's good to talk to you.
It's good to speak with you as well.
Now, last we spoke, I believe you were still Representative Theis, and I'd heard you on an interview talking about this issue. This is something you've been working on since you've been in Lansing, correct?
Absolutely. I came into Lansing passionate about this issue, and I still am.
So are you happy with this current reform proposal?
This proposal would save Michigan residents an awful lot of money should they choose to take advantage of the savings that are offered to them, and that is exactly what I wanted to give them the opportunity to do. And so, yes, I am.
So we spoke with Senator Ananick, the minority leader in the Senate, and he's concerned and wants to know why there can't be a mandate in this legislation that the savings get passed along. He says that there are mandates on the medical reimbursements. Why can't they impose some sort of rate reduction on the insurance companies? What do you say to that?
I find it interesting that that's what they're asking for at this point. Back in 2017, when we did put mandated rate reductions in the bill, many of the same senators who voted no this time voted no last time when there were mandated rate reductions associated with the bill. At this point, we've provided unlimited opportunities. We set specific mandated offerings of the insurers, but there are mandated mandated requirements. So they have the $50,000, the $250,000, and then the opt-out option. Mm-hmm. But unlimited opportunities, and so then also unlimited savings for Michigan's residents associated with it.
So I think his point is that we don't know that the market will continue to work in this case. That if there's a saving, and he admits that that half of the cost of a premium right now is because of the PIP, because of the mandated coverage. So yeah. So why wouldn't if that's no longer a mandate and somebody wants insurance and they can opt out because their health insurance is going to cover it, how does that not end up in a significant reduction in their insurance rate?
At first, I disagree with this premise. Half the cost of the bill in Detroit is not because of PIP. Almost all of the cost of the bill in Detroit is because of PIP.
Okay.
If you've got a beater car that you purchased, you purchased the lowest cost car you possibly could, and then you're told that your insurance is going to be $5,000 to $6,000, which is what you're told, and you don't have theft, you don't have collision. Almost the entirety of your bill is your mandated coverage.
Yeah.
And so when you opt out of your mandated coverage, you're going to see almost 80% savings.
So this is
I completely disagree with his premise on that.
So and this is the other thing that I've heard. One of the criticisms is this zip code allowing insurers to rate people based on zip code. You've got a problem. You've got a real problem in Detroit as well with the number of uninsured drivers, and that these two things are driving each other. The higher the cost goes, the fewer people insured, the higher the cost goes. So if you're saying so you've got a lot of cars where all they're paying for is this mandated PIP coverage. If you drop that, those prices are going to go down.
If you make insurance affordable, there are an awful lot of people who are going to quit breaking the law. There are a whole bunch of people who don't want to break the law.
Yeah.
We put people in a situation where they have absolutely no choice. And I don't want to put people in a situation where we're forcing them to break the law. And I find it unconscionable that there are people out there who are playing politics and putting them in that situation.
Let me ask you this. We all see these insurance places that offer $59 coverage, $79 coverage. These companies, we know what they're doing. They're insuring somebody for as long as it takes for them to get registration. Is there anything in this legislation which will address that? Should that problem be addressed? Should the people who are doing this be held accountable?
The Department of Insurance and Financial Services is actually working on that scenario right now, and the places have been shut down that are doing it for a week, but the reality is those kind of places exist across the country. Whatever payment you are allowed to make for whatever period of time, you make one payment and then stop across the country. The problem in Michigan is that our insurance is unaffordable.
Yeah.
overall. When
Yeah.
you have the highest cost insurance in the entire country because we mandate unlimited lifetime medical, that's the problem.
Yeah.
When you require a blank check, it's expensive. Who
Yeah.
knew? We
Right.
do. We
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah.
And we've created a solution for that. The solution is SB1. We got it passed out of the Senate. It's sitting over in the House.
Yeah.
Let's see what we can do with that. We're working very hard to create a solution for Michigan's residents so that they will actually have affordable auto insurance.
So a couple quick things then. Obviously, the governor says she's not going to sign it. You've got to go over to the House first. What do you say to the criticism that this is something that, and you yourself have pointed out, this is something you've been working on for a long time. You're saying previous iterations had a mandate in rate reduction. Why wasn't this passed with a Republican governor?
It's not a Republican issue any longer. If you go out and you knock doors, I don't care if someone calls themselves a Democrat, if they call themselves a Republican, you go to downtown Detroit and knock some doors and you ask them if they like their auto insurance.
Yeah.
I can tell you every door, or at least nearly every door, is going to tell you no.
Yeah.
As I knocked doors, nearly every door told me, fix my auto insurance. They didn't ask me to come up with a nuanced fix.
Yeah.
They said, fix it or get rid of it. And it was when we have created this kind of problem. It's taken us over 40 years to create this kind of problem.
Yeah.
We need a very, very real solution, and we've got it. And I'm asking people in the legislature, I don't care if you have an R after your last name or a D after your last name.
Yeah.
Let's create a solution for the residents of Michigan, and it's out there. We've come up with some very, very real solutions. Now we need to fix it.
So what are the prospects, do you suppose? I mean, will there be some negotiation with the governor, do you expect? Do you think it'll pass in the House?
I think we've got the votes there. I very much hope that it will. I know there are negotiations ongoing, and I hope everybody who has an interest in this will come to the table with a heart that understands that the poorest among us, the poorest residents in Michigan, are very, very hurt by this. So please, come to the table. Let's get this fixed.
Yeah.
I got a quick question, Senator Theis. That in the crafting of this bill or any other previous attempts at this, did anyone look back at Michigan automobile insurance law prior to the no fault and say, here are some things that worked in that? Maybe we can bring some of those elements back and almost have an a la carte approach to automobile insurance.
I know what we've been looking at, is so much has changed around the country since then, because we're looking at prior to the 70s, right?
Correct.
So what we're looking at primarily is what's going on around the country right now, and what works and what doesn't work. We're looking at the world that works, right? And so we're trying to find solutions that can function in today's world. And that's what we're trying to do moving forward. We've asked the experts in all of the different arenas. We've asked all of them, please come to the table with very, very real solutions right now. And I know in the House we heard literally months of testimony asking for solutions, and that's what was incorporated into this bill.
Yeah, because I remember when you spoke with us last, it was you said one of the biggest obstacles were the medical people and the trial lawyers who, kind of had the most, who were most resistant to what you're trying to do in any circumstance. Is that still the case, or are they a little more willing to help you out?
Ironically, it is. Try to wrap your brain around that for a minute. Auto no fault was created to keep us out of the courts.
Right.
And the trial attorneys are one of the biggest groups prohibiting us from change.
Right.
And that's still true today?
It is.
Wow.
Because that was mandated. Was there a court case that because it previously they didn't allow lawsuits, but that got repealed, right?
I'm not sure how well. No, lawsuits have been allowed, but there have been a series of different lawsuits, and I want to push back a little bit on the prior senator's commentary that there's no pushback on the insurance companies. There's quite a bit of pushback on the insurance companies.
Okay.
There are things that insurance companies and hospitals don't like in this bill. They're both sides.
Yeah.
The fraud authority, and that very definitely looks at fraud both directions in this bill. So we're addressing everything in this.
Okay. So why the other complaint from Senator Ananick was the process that this was the night before the verbiage was out. And I know one of the things that I read your statement as well, that this is something you guys have been working on a long time. These aren't new things. This is stuff that we've all talked about. We all know what the solutions are. It's just the tough work of getting it through.
There have been ongoing discussions with many senators on both sides of the aisle. Language has been tweaked overall for literally for years.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't be any surprise to anybody that this is what we were looking at. And
Yeah.
so if they were surprised, I don't know how to help that. But
Okay.
literally, this has been an issue that has been on the table for over 40 years.
Yeah.
We've known it to be a problem
Yeah.
literally for decades.
And no other 12 states in the union with no-fault insurance, none of them have unlimited medical coverage. Is that correct?
The next closest is 50,000. So the lowest offering that we have.
Okay. And you would think that if this was working well, other states would be emulating Michigan, but it's not the case.
They've certainly had the opportunity for 4 decades to come closer to ours, and they have chosen not to.
It doesn't seem to
We
be.
have the most expensive coverage in the entire country,
Yeah.
and every economic indicator shows it going up,
Yeah.
not by a little bit,
Yeah.
but stratospherically. And it is absolutely unsustainable, and we can't continue to do this to our citizens.
Let me ask you finally, and we'll let you go. We really appreciate your time. How optimistic are you? What do you think the chances are of getting this through?
I'm sorry, the question again?
How optimistic are you? What do you think the chances are of getting this through?
I am very optimistic, and it's essential. Michigan's citizens need this. The poorest among us need this. Our economy needs this. Every area of Michigan is held back because of this, and I am so optimistic about what this does for Michigan once we get this passed.
Senator Theis, thank you so much for your time. It's great to talk to you.
Thank you.
All right, we've got to take a break. We'll come right back. Flint's News Talk, 1470 WFNT.
Are you looking